Back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast this afternoon with first season head coach at George Washington, Chris Caputo. Now, you may have heard of him. You may remember him like I do from being with Coach Larrañaga at Miami. He's also been an assistant coach in several different places. Now, he's the boss man with the Colonials. Coach, or welcome in.
Hey, thanks so much, Ken. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Oh yeah. Hey, one of your bios, you're listed as a defensive coordinator, which I thought was interesting and fun, but it's a really good look at basketball as well as football. Just to refresh people, you were with the Hurricanes in 2 NITs, 5 NCAA tournaments, 3 Sweet 16s, and an Elite 8. So talk about how the defensive coordinator mantra fits basketball as well as football.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit different in the sense that basketball is the ultimate team game. We can't sub them out, offense, defense, although we might like to do that sometimes. But it's Coach Larrañaga kind of began doing it this way, and it was a good way to organize your staff in a sense of one coach really did all the opponent scouts. And as at this level, the ACC level, the Atlantic 10 level, we do have a lot of help in terms of people within the program that can support. And so, one coach is really focused on the opponent. The other coach is really focused on self-scouting and paying a lot of attention to our offense, and then same on the defense. And so I did all the scouts for a number of years, and then sort of shifted over to the defense. And it's a good way to organize it. It's a good way to give accountability and responsibility. Ultimately, your team is your team, right? And if you're a good defensive team, it's probably because you have good defenders.
Yeah.
An offensive team, it's probably because you've got guys who can score. And I heard Mick Cronin say this the other day. I thought it was really, really true. He said, hey, offense is a lot easier when, you play 5-on-5. When you've got 5 guys that can score and that are threats in whatever way they are threats, whether it's a guy who can shoot, guy who can drive, guy who can pass, guy who can rebound, what have you. If they're a threat offensively, then your offense gets a lot better. It's probably the same for the defense, right? If there's guys who can defend and rebound their position, it gives you a chance to have a good defense.
Very interesting. Very, very good summary and idea there. I'd never thought about it, but it so fits. Hey, you guys are tied for 5th with LaSalle right now in the A10 at 2-1. Talk about what has been the key in getting the Colonials back into a competitive format here in the A10, which is one of the toughest leagues in the country.
Well, I think, we're just getting started in terms of building our program, in the way in which we would like to build it and the vision in which we would like to build it. I've been very happy with the character of the group. I think it's hard to have any sort of success unless you've got the right people in the building. And, certainly you're going to have a requisite level of talent, but we got to continue to build that piece. But I think we've got the right type of people. It's been a group that's been resilient, that's responded well to both winning and losing. And I looked at the GW program, and felt like, hey, between 1991 and 2016, GW had been in like 17 postseasons in 25 years. And so my time at George Mason as an assistant, GW was, at a time they were the top 10 in the country. They had gone to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, having a lot of success. And so my view of what the program could be, obviously our location, and what we could maybe recapture from the past, was very, very doable if we, did some things. And, we're in the process of doing that. But in that process, having a really good group of people in the locker room to work with right now has made it easy.
You have a really dynamic and interesting backcourt situation with James Bishop and Brendan Adams. James averages 22.3 points and is one of the best scorers in the nation. Shoots 47.1% from the floor. He topped Loyola Chicago in your season opener with 40 points. So discuss his approach to attacking offense.
Yeah, I think I believe that James is really having an incredible year, because I think somebody who's got the ball that much and is scoring that much, sometimes you would think, well, the guy's a pig. He doesn't share it. He doesn't, get anybody better. And yet, he's averaging, I think, maybe about 5 assists a game. And his assist to turnover ratio is terrific. I think he's made, if you watch him, he's really made a ton of great reads out of pick and roll. He's been so consistent with that. I think he's a fun guy to play with. And yet, he's also got an incredible ability to score the ball. So very, very happy with him and the role that he's played this year. I think it's been different. He was probably a little bit more off the ball last year. And this year he's been a guy that's, really had the opportunity to have a high usage, but also a very high efficiency, which is not that common. Usually if you have a guy with that type of usage, his efficiency can be up and down. His has been very consistently high.
Yeah, Brendan Adams is shooting 62.2% from inside the arc. Wow. As he joins Bishop now with around 2 triples made per game.
Yeah, I think Brendan is having a career year. He's playing the point. He's defending the other team's best player. He's playing off the ball some when JB has it. I'm really, really happy. He's a very hard worker. He's a guy who has, really worked on his game. He comes from a basketball family. His mom and dad have played the game. His brother obviously was a very good player at St. Bonaventure, was in the NBA, has played high-level international basketball. And I'm really happy for Brendan that, he's starting to see the fruits of his labor this season.
Yeah, Ricky Lindo Jr., I wanted to talk about him a minute. He's another good shooter from inside the arc. How you set him up to get his shots when you have the dynamics, once again, of Bishop and Adams out front.
Yeah, Ricky's had a diverse game. He's made some threes in the last couple of games. I think he's capable of doing that. He's a guy who can get an offensive rebound, a post-up player, a driver, a finisher near the rim. A guy that we'd like to, continue to have some diversity and play really inside out. And when he's been able to stay out of foul trouble, he's been very productive and consistent.
I noticed Bishop and Adams, they both exude 36 minutes per game, which I think in any sport, when you're playing like 90% of your totals, there's not a lot more you can say about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our depth is an issue. I don't think that's any secret for anyone when you look at, the composition of our roster to begin with, and then some of the injuries that we absorbed. So, those guys are playing a ton of minutes. I'm happy that they're playing a lot of minutes because they're on the floor, and when they're on the floor, they're damn good. And yet, look, I think the reality is, we have to find times to have them rest a little bit, hopefully in timeouts and not on the court. But yeah, I mean, they're playing a heavy load. We understand that in practice as well. And we try to, we got to be careful in practice that we don't overdo it either.
Now, your offensive attack is one of the top 10% at the college game, at 47.8%, from the floor. So how were you able to implement this style of attack with your players?
Yeah, I think it's some sort of combination of, trying to play to our strengths with, a very good backcourt. We have a good passing front court, and, Max Edwards has shown some real signs as a freshman to both shoot it, drive it, pass it. Hunter Dean's a very good facilitator and finisher. And, those 5 guys building out some chemistry, putting them in position, putting them in positions to be successful. We're getting to action very quickly. And obviously James has made a lot of great reads.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Maximus Edwards and Hunter Dean as well. Hunter's a top rebounder and shot blocker, and them being your other two starters inside such a productive offense for a defensive coordinator.
I would like to be better defensively. I'm trying. We're
Yeah.
trying. Um, again, I think when you look at our roster, the makeup of our roster,
Mhm.
particularly with the 5 starters, we have an opportunity. We knew we had an opportunity to be a effective offensive team at times. And so the challenge for us was, and we're spending again a lot of time on our defenses, what best ways can we defend, knowing that we have some issues in terms of depth, and we're working through that. And I think we've made some improvements here as league play has started. And so hopefully we can just continue to get better at it there.
Last thing, Coach, your thoughts on characterizing the A10 as a basketball conference, as of course you were in the ACC for, I
Yeah.
guess, the 7 years plus.
Well, I just think it's a great league. First of all, you think about the cities that it's in. They're basketball cities: Washington, New York, Philadelphia, the state of North Carolina. Obviously St. Louis and Dayton have had, storied histories, great basketball programs. UMass is a team that's been in the Final Four. So I think up and down 95, we're so basketball strong, both from an institutional level, but also the players that we can attract. And then you go into the Midwest, a city like Chicago, a city like Dayton, city like St. Louis, where basketball is really, 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 it's important in those places. So I think it's like a Big East in that sense. A lot of private schools. Basketball is the main sport, very, very important. And it's been a multi-bid league for many, many years. And I think, hey, we'll continue to be that as we look to, modernize, I would say, as a conference as we go forward.
Coach Chris Caputo, ladies and gentlemen, the George Washington Colonials coach. It's a pleasure having you on, and I hope we can do this again soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ken. Good to
Yeah,
see you.
good luck.